Alright, here's what the new CEO of Disney just said. I can still remember exactly where I was standing the first time I saw the castle. I can remember it in a way I do not remember most things from when I was 8. That feeling, the one that does not fade, the one that becomes part of who someone is. That's our entire business. No focus group can invent that. No algorithm can produce it, and no amount of capital can buy it. That's not something some run the mill Disney fan put on Reddit. It's not what you heard in the news, it's not what you heard on a podcast. That was Disney's new CEO, Josh D'Amaro. And I'm going to be completely upfront with you here. When I read that, something hit me. It made me just think for a second. It that message kind of describes why I proposed to my wife in front of the castle, why we got married on the boardwalk, why we brought our kids as toddlers, and it's kind of the whole reason that this channel exists. So today I want to talk about Josh D'Amaro, what he says, what it means for Disney families, and what's actually coming to Disney in the next few months and for the years in front of us. Because the man who just became the most powerful individual in all of Disney is someone that parents should get to know. Josh D'Amaro became the CEO of Disney back in February when longtime CEO Bob Iger stepped down. And here's what makes him truly different than any other CEO. Josh's entire career was built in the parks. He started working in Disneyland when he was young. His first job was literally at the parks. He eventually rose to become chairman of Disney Parks, Experiences, and Products. That division runs every theme park, every resort, every cruise ship across the globe. So yeah, the dude knows what he's talking about. He oversaw the opening of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. He managed the parks through COVID and its recovery. He's the person most responsible for the modern day Disney park. Why this actually matters so heavily is because if you look at all of the Disney CEOs that came before him, most of them either came from the finance side or the entertainment sides of business. Not one of them strictly came from park experience. The parks have always been the most important lifeline and aspect of Disney's business, but has not always been the main focus where past CEOs' hearts have been. D'Amaro is and will be the first CEO in Disney's modern era who built the career specifically on the guest experience, on the families that come to the parks, and on the magic that Disney delivers. In the speech that he gave at Upfront, I really want to walk through it because it's more than just like corporate messaging and jargon. There's something genuine that you can feel, and I think that Disney families are going to connect with it more than any other CEO that's come before him. Alright, so at the Upfront, which is Disney's annual presentations to advertisers, media executives, and a whole bunch of other people, D'Amaro came out and said something that I think is deliberately different from what most CEOs say at these events, where most CEOs would talk about the revenue, the money, the numbers, and what the market has and where we're sitting at in total share value. D'Amaro took his time to talk about the feelings instead of the jargon. Here's what he said, and I want to make sure I read this carefully, so I'm going to read it straight off the screen. You cannot acquire 100 years of trust. You can't put generations of belonging on a balance sheet. Disney is part of people's lives in a way few brands have ever been or will be. And in a world of infinite choice and constant distraction, that kind of presence is rare and getting rarer. In a world of infinite choice and distraction, that kind of presence is getting rare and getting rarer. He isn't just saying this, he's talking truly about attention. About the fact that everything is competing for your family's time, your family's attention, and your family's focus right now. Phones, streaming, gaming, social media, and Disney is one of the only things genuinely that cuts through all of the noise and creates a moment that your family fully inhabits together. That's literally the same thing that I talk about on this channel going back since I started. And that's kind of where Walt Disney started this entire company, on a park bench in Griffith Park over 100 years ago. That's truly the presence conversation. And here's the CEO of Disney in a room full of advertisers and stockholders and people looking about what the company is worth. That is where he was. That is what nobody else can replicate. He also said this: in a marketplace where everyone is racing to assemble what we already have, Disney is in the category of one, which is genuinely true. Think about what Disney actually is and what they've created. It's movies, it's streaming, it's theme parks, it's cruise ships, it's live sports and merchandise, the characters. No other company on the planet has all of those things pointing towards the same emotional core of family belonging. Also, if this is landing for you, please hit the subscribe button and the like button for this video. I put on Disney content for families every single week, and I really hope that this conversation drives you to want to keep up with what's happening at the parks and how to experience the magic of Disney at all times or as much as possible. And it genuinely helps me keep making it, knowing that these videos are hitting home. So please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more future videos. But here's the part that I find most meaningful for Disney parents watching this video right now. Tomorrow said his first job was at Disneyland. He said he still remembers where he was standing when he first saw the castle at just 8 years old. He said that feeling becomes a part of who someone is. That's not marketing language or jargon to hope that somebody buys a product. That's a person describing their own experience. The new CEO of Disney is someone who felt what we feel. And he built a career trying to protect and expand that feeling for everyone else that comes in contact with the brand. So that is the heart behind Josh D'Amaro. Now let me tell you about what's actually happening at Disney under his control and leadership right now, because the pipeline of content and park experiences coming over the next few months and years ahead is genuinely stacked in our favor. Here's what's happening for movies. The Mandalorian and Grogu hit theaters May 22nd, and so far seems like it's been a hit, and that's the first standalone Star Wars film in years, and it seems like people are loving what they've done. And if you've got a Star Wars kid, this should be on the calendar. And also a quick take, if you're enjoying this video, I want you to go catch me on Whatnot. I started doing shows, going live, spending time on that app, and it's the same experience that I'm doing here. The difference is you get me live, and we're going to be selling Loungefly, Disney collectible, Universal collectibles, and I think for you, you're going to get some amazing deals, because on top of all of it, I'm giving away free Disney merch and custom merch that I think you guys would love because you're on this channel right now. So go catch me at Happy Place Studios on Whatnot. I'm live multiple times a week, and I would really appreciate you coming to see me. Toy Story 5 drops June 19th, and the premise behind this entire story is that toys are dealing with kids' technology addiction. And this is one of the most timely Pixar concepts in years. As a dad with toddlers who love Toy Story, I have a feeling that this one is going to wreck me emotionally in the best possible way. And that's what Pixar does pretty much every time they put something out. Moving into live action, Moana is actually going to hit theaters July 10th, and Dwayne Johnson is back in full Maui. Avengers Doomsday closes out the year on December 18th, and Hext, a brand new original Disney movie, drops November 25th, which is actually kind of rare for Disney right now, seeing how they've given so much to the IP-heavy slate that it's nice to have something new hit the market. Going to movies' second cousin, we're talking about streaming. Avatar Fire and Ash hits Disney Plus June 24th. Marvel's Vision Quest, described as the finale of the WandaVision trilogy with Robert Downey Jr. and Paul Bettany, premieres October 14th. Star Wars Maul, Shadowlord is already out and is absolutely crushing on the platform. I myself has got to watch a little bit of it. Between the animation and the story arc, I cannot describe to you how good this series is. Disney Plus is also launching a standalone ESPN streaming app, which is a significant move for the people who love sports. If you want live sports without a cable package, this is pretty much going to be the biggest deal that's come to live sports in quite some time. So we covered May 26th in pretty much great detail in my last video because 5 things dropping on one singular day is a rare occurrence for anything Disney. Insane. We talked about Hollywood Studios, the Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets, Soarin' Across America, which is celebrating the 250th anniversary of America, Bluey's Wild World of Animal Kingdom, and if you haven't seen the updates on that yet, the lines just to get back to Conservation Station are insane. Literally insane. Never seen it before and probably will never have seen it again in the future. And not to mention, on top of that, Cool Kids Summer kicked off all on May 26th, which is insane. H2O Glow Nights return to Typhoon Lagoon starting June 2nd. The Magic of Disney, which is in Hollywood Studios, is coming late summer. No official date yet, but it's late summer. I'm assuming sometime in August is best guess. It's going to contain an Olaf drawing experience all the way up to an Alice in Wonderland playground, all indoors, tied along with a whole slew of character meetups like Rapunzel, Moana, Hook, and Hercules, and so much more. On top of that, Epcot Food and Wine Festival kicks off August 27th. Not to mention, this is going to be one of the longest breaks without a festival in Epcot that has happened in years. And the construction on Villains Land, Piston Peaks, Cars Land, and Monsters Inc. Land, to kind of top it off, the next year to 2 years are going to be loaded in the theme parks. The parks are genuinely experiencing one of the most active construction cycles they've had in years. And with Damaro at the helm, a parks guy now running the entire company, I think the investment in the physical guest experience is only going to accelerate, and the timeline that we see for these experiences opening will only increase. Not increase, decrease. You saw what I was trying to say there. So here's where I want to land the plane on this story. I've been going to Disney World and the Disney parks for nearly 20 years, and it's hard to say that because that's insane. I've seen CEOs come and go, and most of the time, it doesn't really matter to a Disney family who's running the company at the end of the day. You just want to go and have fun at the parks. What matters is whether the parks feel magical, and when you go through the gates, you get the same feelings every time. But Josh D'Amaro's speech hit me completely differently, because he described the thing that makes Disney irreplaceable in the exact same language that I pretty much use on the daily talking about this company. The castle memory, that feeling doesn't fade. The belonging that becomes part of who you are is utterly true. Again, I cannot reiterate that that is not some corporate jargon or corporate strategy to get you to buy into what Disney does and go buy the latest merch. That's truly a belief, and he is speaking from the heart. And when the person running the company genuinely believes it, not just says it, I think that matters for where Disney is going from here? Drop in the comments, what was your castle memory? Where were you and how old were you when you remember that experience, that overwhelming, that is the castle and it's going to live with you forever. And if you want to go deeper on where Disney is physically headed, the Fifth Gate leak, the Epic Games play, what Disney is building for the next 10 to 20 years, go watch my future plan video. Everything Josh D'Amaro is building and said connects directly back to what we've covered in that video, and the link is right here.